Welcome to today's webinar about the Swiss QR code. I'm glad you joined the session. My name is Johannes Linder. I'm the lead technical evangelist at Docs42. And today I'm joined by Markus. Hello, Markus.
Hello, Johannes. Welcome also from my side. I'm Markus, Senior Manager at ANCA.
How's it going in Switzerland?
It's fine. It's very good. Weather tonight is a little bit better than yesterday or on Tuesday. Yeah, now it's fine. And you know, weekend it's waiting for the door.
A nice summer weekend is always good to look forward to.
Yeah, I hope so. Yes, of course.
Okay, very good. Yeah, like we said, today we're going to talk about the Swiss QR code, and we are going to focus on an integration that is going to be with finance and operations today. Of course, there's all the flexibility in terms of scenarios that you have. But first, you're probably also wondering, some of you already know us, some of you don't. From the attendee list, we've seen that. And so we will start with a also short introduction into what ANCA does, what Docs42 does, and then we will focus on the Swiss QR code. What ANCA does, I'm not the right person to ask to, so Markus, what are you guys providing?
I will start with the introduction to ANCA, where we are, what we do, and then I go forward with what's the QR Swiss code, what is and why we have done some changes or what we do with them. ANCA is one of the biggest independent Swiss company which does business and technology solutions in the IT in every branches from any companies. We have more than 1,300 experts, and more than 90 persons are really expert, and less of back office stuff. We have a lot of offices in Switzerland, but also near shores in Madrid and Grenada, but also large offshores where we do the some of our biggest projects with a lot of development in Vietnam or also in Mauritius. But let us talk a little bit what we can do or what we do in detail, how we can help to a customer. We make a lot of system integration competencies. This is where I work with CRM, but ECM or now IAM solutions, collaboration, internet. But we have also business solution like Secutix, which is an event solution. And if you remember to the World Championship of Football, if you have ordered some tickets, this was one of our solution. We have also other competencies like engineering, front-end development. We can also help to the customers that we enhance their development teams directly. We have, but also the expertise to make business consulting with you if you need a new IT strategy or other help, how to combine manufacturing stuff with IT, then we can help you. We have experts for that. And also, grace of our expertise, we have started to work with the QR Swiss code. I will have a short introduction. The QR real name is QR Bill, but it's the overview. This is a part of the standardization and harmonization of the payment transaction in Switzerland. This harmonization has started in 2017, and now in 2020 we go a large step forward. It means from beginning of the 3rd June, you can send QR bills to your customers, but you should also be able to handle any QR bills you receive with your systems as you are able to pay. Today there is no end date when you have to hard switch to that QR bill code. You can already use the existing, or you can produce new QR bill code. Our recommendation is start now, and you have no pressure if then you have really to change it. What are the benefits? What is the advantages of that QR bill? Now today in Switzerland we have 4 payment slips, 4 different payment slips. This will change to 1 for all, whatever is. Better data quality because you have greater amount of more precise information. Means with the QR bill you have to put more information to your bill, and you can data digitizing from beginning to the end fully when you receive the bill to the end when you make your payment. When we look what or why ANCA has working with that or has done something with the DOCS 42. We worked in the invoice management since early 2000 with solutions for the customer in scanning, recognition, and validation, but also in invoice generation. We are partner with DOCS 42 since more than 5 years, and we have since 2019 specific projects in output and input with that new invoice format. This means we have already customers which we have now to implement a solution to recognize that QR bill codes and payment slips. Was I started at the beginning because we are a great company, a large company with a lot of experience. It was also easy for us and a good point to start to implement that solution to enhance DOCS 42. At the real starting point was a request from a customer, as he has already DOCS 42 in place, and he asked us, is it possible to produce that easy on an easy way with my DOCS 42? And we told to him, of course, it's possible. What are the advantages of DOCS 42 with that Swiss QR code plugin? You can use the large panel of integration as all you have now with DOCS 42. It's just another opportunity to use it. You have low implementation costs, means you have DOCS 42 already in place and you have just put the information to that code. You can start with DOCS 42 with the QR code, or you can say later then, okay, I have other documents to producing, reports or whatever you thinking it would be possible. Or you can say, I have already DOCS 42 and I will also have my invoices, new invoices produced with DOCS 42. Both is possible. And large advantage is DOCS 42, and also that plugin is already ready for cloud compliance on premise or in the Office and Dynamics 365 environment. Okay, that's from my side about QR code, about ANCA. Now back to you, Johannes.
Thank you, Markus. Back to Vienna. So yeah, to those of you that already know DOCS 42, you might have a repetition in the next slides, but there are also some in the session that haven't seen DOCS 42 yet. So let me just give you a brief idea of what we do, and then we will jump into the live demo. Generally, DOCS 42 is a tool for document automation. Like Markus already said, if you already use it, well, you know the capabilities. If you don't, we generally have the capability to do design in Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, so the Office formats. And then there's the flexible integration into whatever scenario you have. So generate the documents from an application you're used to, like we're doing with finance and operations. If you use SharePoint, if you use Dynamics CE, if you use any other, that's perfectly fine. DOCS 42 can also call document generation from there. And as you see down below, there's quite a lot of different customers that already work with Docs42. So that's just a small list of reference customers. And all of them are across different industries, because in a business process, at some point, you will always need to generate documents. And especially in case of invoicing, you want to work specific to the regulations and the options you have within trends, within regulations, with whatever you do. And that's why you need a lot of flexibility in terms of document automation. The document that you generate is going to be on the right hand side, like we see here. So you can have a nice looking PDF coming from any of the applications that you see in a second. The left is the Docs42 Word add-in. You can also generate documents in Excel and PowerPoint, like it says on the slide. And the best part is, for the template design, you don't need to do any programming. So if you're used to working with Office, with Microsoft Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, you'll be easily also able to work with templates in Docs42 and Office directly. In terms of the data sources that you can integrate, that's the flexibility we offer. So you will not be limited to just being on one application only. You will be you have a broad approach of different data sources that you can use. And if you want to combine any of these, like if you, for example, have the products in Dynamics Finance and Operations, but you want to produce nice looking sheets for each product in SharePoint, and you save them, you can even combine them. So combining those will help you just to basically create a flexibility also for your business units, and at the end of the day, have a very nice and neat process in terms of document automation. Because we're flexible on the input, also kind of needs us to be flexible on the output. So what can you do with a document that is printed or that is generally generated by Docs42? And like you see, you can print them, or you can generally generate them as an Office format, of course, so Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. You can create the PDFs, and we're deeply integrated into the Microsoft ecosystem. So if you work with SharePoint, if you work with Teams, you can output those there right away. You can send mails, also work with DocuSign. At the end of the day, you see there are a lot of options. The impression I want to give you is that the flexibility you have in terms of input and output is perfectly usually for your requirements. And if there's anything that is not on the list that you've seen here, both input and output is custom, so you're still flexible on that as well. Let's jump into the live demo. So like we've said today, we've prepared an integration into Finance and Operations. And yeah, for those of you who don't use Finance and Operations, that's perfectly fine, because we're just going to print one to generate one document. For those that use it, that's something you're familiar with. And let's just pick that one. Yes, like it already is. Click on original preview, which will then in this case trigger the Docs42 document generation. And we are already going to see a QR code in this, combined with the data of Finance and Operations. Now, some of you that already probably have worked with or have had a look into the Swiss QR code, there is a standard for the invoicing that you should do. Today we want to show you the flexibility, and of course it's no problem to do it as it is supposed to be by the regulations. Right, there we are, some data in there. There are some products that get repeated. We also have a Word document that gets integrated, so that's even a separate sub-document. And we are switching from portrait to landscape. That's no problem, because the document generally is done in Microsoft Office. And of course, there you can also work with section breaks, so that shouldn't be an issue. Linking that document to the report in Finance and Operations is no big deal. We're not going to focus on this today, so if you want to show this, or if you want to see this, just let us know, send us an email. We can do a demo on how the integration in Finance and Operations works. What we're going to focus on today is how can we put the QR code wherever we want it to be, and how does design in Docs42 generally work. For that, the template is already saved in SharePoint. So we have a SharePoint library. You see that's Finance and Operations templates. In here, you'd also have the option to work with C templates, whatever you want. And for this scenario, we're also in the cloud, which means that the template is in SharePoint Online. If you want to use a scenario where you are on premise and you want to save those documents locally, that's also no problem. So you can basically work in your own environment with your own servers, with your own very documents. And if you work with the server, of course, there is no office needed on that as well, just for those who technically are interested in this. So let's have a look into the template. So the sales invoice English is the document we want to change in this case. And as you see, I open this in Office directly and I'm switching persona. So I've been in the user persona of generating documents before, and now I'm in the design persona, which usually in an organization are 2 to 10 people probably. So not everybody or most people in the organization will never see this template. All right, while I'm typing, there's also a question panel in your GoToWebinar panel. If you have any questions, just type them there. I have them here on my second screen, and then I'll be happy to answer them. We will be happy to answer them. If I click on OK, you see, as I said, standard Office, and in here there are a bunch of blue fields. And usually when it comes to having a document and a template, you also want to see what it's going to look like, not necessarily always in the application. So in Docs 42, you have the generate button where you can always test a document. In this case, we're just going to take the latest report to be as a test report within Office directly. Okay, there we are. We want to view this side by side, so you just see what's the input and what's the output. And yeah, again, you see some standard fields coming from finance and operations. You will see in a second there is a simple insert data field panel where you just drag and drop them into the document. Then, for example, in here there is an advertisement that is in the same library as the one we've just seen before, and it's a complete separate Word document. And that Word document you can also put there. And then there is the last page, and in this last page, what we can do there is we can switch from portrait to landscape. So even there, you will just see that, for example, in this document, basically all the section breaks, also with headers or anything similar, you can do right away in Office. Now, in terms of the data, if we have a look on the data map here, I quickly want to show you on how you can integrate, first of all, data from different data sources and how you can generate the Swiss QR code. In here, all the different data sources you see can be integrated and combined, like in the slide we've already seen before. And in this list, you also see the QR code generator down here, which is also a data source in here. And any information you already have in your document, you can provide to be seen in that in this overview directly. Now, if we double click here, you see there's a lot of information that we've already typed in there. One thing that's very important for the scenario and also for you to see the data, we've hard coded this today, so you see what the different values should be. Generally, you'd probably go ahead with an invoicing scenario where you already have the data coming from the system, and like we do here, you can click on insert data field, and if we click on this insert data field, you will be able to select any of the fields you've already integrated with any other data. In this case, for example, we've integrated the invoicing name. Look for this, you'll be able to integrate this. And there's the invoicing name that we've already provided. It will be inserted a second time, but we will delete the other one. If you've done this, the only thing you need to do is click on generate. This will already generate your nice looking Swiss QR code. And the only thing we still need to do is to generate that still into your document. Now, if we go back to the template, you've seen on the left down below that this Swiss QR code was already integrated. Just in terms of the flexibility, I would like to show you how we put it somewhere else. So even if it's going to be within the standards, of course, you can flexibly put it wherever you want it. If it's supposed to be within the regulations, there is a template that Markus already mentioned, they can provide for you. Insert data field. Invoicing address here, and we want to include, get rid of this, the Swiss QR code as an image. So it's going to be an image, and we want to have a specific ratio. So let's just take 70 down here. which will insert the image right here. If we click on generate again, we'll again, of course, be able to generate that document locally. And you see we have our Swiss QR code down there as it's supposed to be. And any change that we've just done in that document, of course, will also be done in the live document. So when this would be within your customer scenario, within your environment, of course, probably would have different documents for dev or for testing or for production. In this case, we're working on the productive document just to show you how easy it is to change any document. And if we go back to finance and operations in here, and just generate the document again, the same one, create an original preview. In there you will see, instead of the address that we've just inserted, there will be the QR code. And any of the data that we've also seen can be conditional, can be very flexible in terms of what your requirements are. Perfect. There we are. And of course, even if there be any color changes or anything similar you need to do, there's a lot of videos we have for any of the designs. And specifically, this is going to be about Swiss QR code. And now we're already generating it directly from finance and operations. Good. I'm switching back to the presentation. In case you want to see anything live right away, just again, use your question panel and we can still do that, of course. Now if we just quickly jump back to the presentation. Just want to give you a quick summary of the capability of document automation with Docs42. Some of this has already been mentioned by Markus before, but yeah, of course, if you want to go with document automation in general, you want to have intelligent, high quality documents. Like you've seen, you can work with conditions, breaks, page breaks, table of contents dynamically, and at the same time, save time. Because it's not something you do programmatically, it's something you do in Office. And in Office, a lot of people can work with that. So even if you don't have a specialist on programming any report, that's something you don't need anymore, because then that person can do something that's very IT relevant, and the design can be done by another person that doesn't need to be that deep technically. Design in Office, we've covered that, you've seen that. We can do the same thing in Excel and PowerPoint. Also, of course, in other applications, SharePoint, Dynamics, whatever you want to see. Then the flexibility, like we said, Docs42 stays in your application, so you don't need to have a new interface. The user will still be there where they are, and they can flexibly integrate that. And at the same time, have those flexibility always with your corporate design. So that's individuality, and that's this document. Because the document also, if it looks like it's in Notepad, it's not something you want to send to your customer, right? It's a visual representation of what you do. And at the end, we also have to have a look on the trends and regulations in terms of ERP, in terms of everything that's out there on the market. And we are moving away from a monolithic system where everything is going to be one system only. We take the best from what IT offers, and that's a trend that we truly believe in, because if you look at also other applications, you want to stay in the same front end, but for document automation, you can use that in many, many different scenarios and not train people all the time to have different new applications that they need to be trained to. So stay within the Microsoft trends and stay within the ERP trends in this case as well. If you're not within an ERP scenario, this also applies, of course, to the other IT. And lastly, you still have a chance to ask any questions. So feel free to just pop them into your question panel. Let's have a look. Seems like we've covered everything today, Markus.
Seems so, yes.
And yeah, so well, last thing to say is thank you very much for your attention. It was great having you here in our virtual room. And last words, Markus, I give to you.
Yeah, thank you. One remark, as we have seen, a larger flexibility. You can put this QR code wherever you want, but you mentioned already is a standardization, means also the experiences as a payment slip has a specific layout. You get them with our plugin, as you can then switch or lay out your own invoice with a specific payment slip. Also from my side, thank you to join us, and I think you have now the information how you can start to produce such QR code, but even if you have any question or if you have a pain and you need to get them and you have to transform that in your system, we are ready. We have the experience to help and support you for them. Thank you and bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. See you next time.
Bye.